Hi, I'm Andrew Wasson. Thanks for joining me for my weekly guitar blog. It's December 7th, 2014, and this week we're going to be working on reharmonizing chord progressions. This is a question that was sent in from Victor. He's out in Stone Mountain, Georgia. He wrote in with this email. My question is about reharmonizing chord progressions. First, when reharmonizing, which kind of chord would you substitute for a major chord? Secondly, when would minor seventh chords be used in reharmonizing? And third, what is your favorite chord substitute for diminished seventh chords when reharmonizing? Thank you for sharing your knowledge and skills, Victor in Stone Mountain, Georgia, USA. Well, hey, thanks for writing in, Victor. You know, reharmonizing chord progressions is an excellent area of composition to study. Not only does it reinforce the concepts of diatonic harmony, but it also improves a musician's understanding of song arrangements. Now, in this video, we'll have a look into the musical ideas of popular reharmonized major chords, the use of minor seventh chords when reharmonizing, and what I most prefer when I want to reharmonize the diminished seventh chords. So let's zoom in on the neck and get started. Well, before we can reharmonize anything, we need to establish a foundational chord progression that'll later become reharmonized. Now, to keep things simple, we'll begin with a straightforward 3-chord progression in the key of D major. And the chords are just going to be D major, A major, and G major. Here's how the whole progression sounds. Now, this 3-chord jam is a very popular set of chord changes, often referred to as a harmonic movement known of as the 1-4-5. Now let's begin by making a few interesting alterations that'll create a simple reharmonized idea. One of the most popular reharmonizing concepts that we'll find applied in a piece of music is known as the relative minor principle. Now, this involves selecting one or two of the original major chord types of an established chord progression and then swapping out those majors with minor chords located the distance of a sixth interval from the original major chord. In my first reharmonized example, I'm going to be swapping out the D major and the G major chords from the initial chord progression and reharmonize the progression by replacing those chords with their relative minor chord types. Here's how it sounds. Now I've replaced the D major with its relative minor, which is B minor. And I've replaced the G major chord with its relative minor, which is the E minor. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the original progression and then immediately play the reharmonized progression right after it so you can hear the difference between the two of them right away. Here we go. So first progression. And here's the reharmonize. Well, for the next chord progression, I'll be in the key of D minor this time. The chord changes are going to be D minor into G minor and C major up to a C sharp diminished seventh. So this is going to be our foundational set of chords, and with this set of chords, I'd like to involve some reharmonizing concepts that apply minor seventh chord applications and also some use of diminished seventh as well for the reharmonized situation. But the initial chord changes as they go by, I want to get you used to those first, so I'm going to perform them. Again, it's D minor, G minor, C major, and that C sharp diminished seventh. So here we go. Here's the foundational chord changes. All right, let's get to work reharmonizing here. For the reharmonization, I'll be replacing that D minor triad. Well, I shouldn't say really replacing it. I'm just going to extend it out with the minor 7. So we have D minor triad getting basically extended out to become D minor 7 there. And that's all you have to do with any minor triad. You can just basically swap them out. The major 7s don't really swap out as easily for major triads. Sometimes they do. More so, I would say, on a 4 chord in a chord harmony. Off the 1 chord, I don't know, sometimes it can sound a little bit strange. Minor 7s, though, can easily swap out for the triad. Okay, so keep that in mind. And just to spice things up a little more, I'm going to throw in the second measure there, I'm going to take that original G minor triad that we had in the foundational progression, and I'm going to swap it out for a B major. So that's getting back to that idea of relative chords. Now, if you'll stop and think about that for a second, though, it's the opposite direction. You know, before in the first examples, I was swapping out relative minor, but this is really just more of a relative major principle going on here. So instead of playing the G minor, I'm doing its relative major chord, B flat major. All right, so I just wanted to throw that in there so you could see that they work in both directions. Now, I've left the third measure's C major chord alone, so we're just going to keep the C major chord in the third measure. But in the fourth measure, I've replaced the C sharp diminished 7th chord by using my personal favorite substitute for diminished 7th, which is the dominant 7 flat 9, played up a 4th interval. In the case of that particular C sharp diminished 7th chord, it would be getting reharmonized out to F sharp dominant 7th, F sharp dominant 7th flat 9. Right up there, I'm going to do the voicing up there. And I have picked some really specific voicings here too, I should mention that. For the D minor 7, I'm going to kind of keep in the same region, but for the substitute there of the B flat, I'm going to place it with sort of a thumb in the bass idea in the 6th position there. I'll be throwing that C down, you know, exactly where it was before. But for that F sharp dominant 7 with the flat 9, I'm going to take it up the neck here because I think it's going to sound really nice as I move back. And maybe I will just loop the chords just to get you a chance to hear how they go in a circle. So anyway, here's this reharmonized progression. Okay, so now just so you can really hear how the reharmonization takes effect, I'll play both progressions back to back, just like I did with the first batch of progressions we looked at. So here we go. Here's how they sound. The first progression. And here it is reharmonized. Well, I guess you can tell reharmonizing chord progressions is really just experimenting with the interpretation of a group of chords. By applying different substitution ideas, we can produce some very interesting changes to a harmony. Sometimes when we're working from more of a composing direction, we can apply reharmonization principles to make harmony sound much better. In fact, you know, experienced professional piano players will often introduce changes to chord movements, sometimes by sight, even when playing a song for the first time. So keep in mind that reharmonization is simply the application of certain pre-learned concepts, and the key to effective reharmonization is really nothing much more than, you know, if it sounds good, it's good. Anyway, that's about all the time I have for today. As always, thanks for watching. Have yourself a great week, and I'll catch up with you next time. Bye for now. My Blues Guitar Styles ebook is a masterclass course covering a huge amount of information with 8, 12, and 16 bar blues progressions, classic blues styles, plus all the important chord patterns. There's over 50 pages of information, including sections on blues techniques like slide, alternate tuning, and bending. This ebook has everything the guitar player needs for a solid foundation in blues guitar, including 27 MP3 audio tracks for easy at-home study. Blues Guitar Styles is available for instant download in the View Our Products area at creativeguitarstudio.com.